Nearly 50 years ago, with the 1974 murder of a Texas woman named Carla Walker, who was kidnapped outside of a bowling alley. Now, her case went cold for decades, and just like thousands of other murders all across the country, the evidence sat on the shelf. And then in 2019, investigators found this very small stain on her bra strap. It was barely visible to the naked eye, not enough for a normal DNA test, but from that tiny decades-old stain, this lab called Othram in Texas was able to create an entire genetic sequence. Then they cross-referenced it with publicly available genealogy databases. We talked to the people behind this technology. Here's what they told us.
Here we're building kind of a molecular library of that DNA. So we're getting many copies of it, breaking it up into itty-bitty pieces. And each little piece is like a book in the library that describes some component of the information about that case.
How often are you calling law enforcement and saying, hey, I think we've got a hit?
Every day.
And from that information, police were able to connect a man named Glenn McCurley to that murder. He is now serving life in prison. Now, this new kind of DNA technology is opening up a whole new world to forensic investigators. And today, U.S. Senator John Corwin is pushing for the Carla Walker Act. That's a new bill that would use this kind of technology to solve more cold cases. And that starts with having conversations about how to establish guidelines on using genetic genealogy and how to get funding and to test the staggering number of cold cases that are currently open all across the United States. So joining us now on the phone is Carla Walker's brother, Jim. Jim, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about this. I got to ask, what was it like learning that your sister's name and what happened to her could open up a whole new era of solving more cases like hers?
Well, good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak about this. Very exciting. Out of something horrendous came something wonderful. And there are tens of thousands of Carla Walker families that need this very same opportunity to bring justice to their family and their lost loved ones.
And Jim, I know you actually went into law enforcement because of what happened to your sister, right? How do you see genetic genealogy being used by investigators in the next 10 years?
You know, it's the tip of the spear. It's a game changer. It's like day and night. It's a difference that's going to bring many bad perpetrators to justice. Those men and women who have done horrific things, who have thought that they have gotten away with a horrific crime and caused so much carnage and damage, are on notice now that it used to be if we can find out who did this. It's no longer if, it's when we get to you. And we are absolutely coming.
And, you know, Othram is involved in so many different open cases across the country right now, so we can't talk about any of those specific cases that are still pending. But given what you've seen with your family's case, how exact is this science?
Well, it's you know, I've heard some statistics. I believe it's about 99% accurate, which is amazing. You know, if you go to CODIS, you have a 2% hit. And through the FBI CODIS system, which is incredibly important and is mandated and has to occur right now. But this technology, what it does is it brings to light a viable, reasonable lead that law enforcement then investigates. And what we've found, really without exception, is the accuracy is incredible.
And what has this meant to your family?
You know, it's meant the world. You never have closure when you lose somebody, and every Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, special days, birthdays, there's always an empty chair. You know, I had to, we weren't able, my parents were not able to have closure, although they never gave up. And our perpetrator lived less than 1 mile from our house for 45 years, drove by our house weekly, and it brought us great satisfaction to be able to bring him to account for this. And also, too, it allowed me to provide forgiveness, but to let him know that he would never, ever breathe another day of free man's air, he would die incarcerated. And I wanted to let him know that the Walker and the Army that his actions created, along with the forces of Author and Lab and amazing law enforcement professionals, culminated in bringing him to justice. And that was of great satisfaction to us.
Jim Walker, thank you so much for joining us tonight and your time and your insight. And again, our condolences to your family, but hopefully this helps bring that closure. An incredible story.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Sure.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.